If a claimant cannot afford their medical treatment, would they still be able to collect disability insurance benefits?
I wouldn't say it's impossible to collect disability insurance benefits if you can't afford your medical treatment. That's assuming that, what we're talking about is assuming that they're not treating because, they can't get to their doctors because they can't afford to pay for the visits or for the treatment or for whatever type of, ongoing thing that the doctor is recommending they do. But it would be very, very difficult. Not only because it's a requirement of the policy that you be under the reasonable and appropriate care of a physician, and that those specific terms do not necessarily take into account affordability of your medical treatment, but also because the onus and the burden's always on the insured to prove their disability claim. So if you're not treating with your doctors, if they're not documenting your disability claim, if they're not providing you with a treatment protocol, then you're not falling under the terms of the policy, and you're not providing the proof that's necessary for your disability claim. Now, in some cases that I've seen where this has happened, the insurance company might send the person to an independent medical exam or something like that. Now, we know how those usually turn out. So, unfortunately, it's very unlikely for someone to be eligible for disability benefits if they can't afford to treat for their medical disability.
I only see it happen in two scenarios. One is when someone is either just about to apply or it stopped working. They're in this period of time where they have no income coming in and they can't afford co-pays, or the doctors won't see them. They don't have health insurance because they got laid off from work, and so they say they can't afford to go to the doctor. That's one scenario.
Right.
And that's very rare in the thousands of claims that I've seen. But in that scenario, I tell a person like that, just go to the emergency room.
Right.
Because they're not going to reject you there. So that's the answer, I think, the solution to that. But the other scenario more commonly that I think you and I see is the person that, for example, let's say a depression claim. And they are seeing the doctor, but the doctor is prescribing some sort of antidepressant. And with their insurance or whatever, that costs them $125 a month to get that pill. And they say, I can't afford $125 a month for this prescription. They don't get the prescription, and then the disability carrier says, you're not following the appropriate care and treatment that your doctor prescribed for you. If you were taking the medicine, then we think maybe you'd be better. So, what do you do in that situation?
Right, that's the catch-22. That's the big dilemma that so many people face, especially in our country in these times right now. There's the whole issue of medical care and the affordability of medical care and health insurance and all of that we're seeing. So it's a very complicated situation, unfortunately.
So I think the bottom line, though, from our perspective, and it may not be the answer that you want to hear, is that you have to have the treatment. It's your burden under all circumstances to provide the disability carrier with the appropriate treatment to support your claim for disability. And if you can't do that, then they are not going to approve your benefits. However, there are alternatives and there are other methods to get care that either you're going to have to incur an expense or they'll take you in. But you got to do it if you want to get paid your benefits.
I think it's just a matter of the insured, the claimant, setting a priority list for themselves. If that means having to sell a car, having to prioritize their medical treatment, their medical care, because that's going to essentially lay the path for those future stream of benefits for their future income coming in. So.
Right. Okay. If you have any questions about your claim, feel free to call any of our lawyers. We always offer a free consultation.